Yes, guys, what's going on? I've got a video here from Rabbi Pinchas Taylor. Hopefully, I'm not butchering the name. Radical Islam, or the Islamization of the West. It's a big topic, hot topic in the UK, France, I mean, really across Europe. Australia, Canada now, they're starting to talk about it, especially if you're going on X. Um, yeah, let's see what they have to say.
Immigration is a hot topic and a complicated topic these days. One of the reasons is that because immigration, the goal of immigration, is that you want people from all places and backgrounds and religions and creeds to be able to come to a place and assume the same values as the place that they're coming to. Someone wants to better their lives by becoming a part of Western civilization. You hope and expect that they too want to become a part of Western civilization.
Yeah, of course, but to also improve the country that they are going to. Like, why would you invite people into your house that aren't going to actually improve the household? So I mean, in Australia, particularly over the last few decades, they had a point system, so they were only bringing in immigrants that matched the point system. um, yeah, that's positive immigration from anywhere in the world, bringing skilled people in, or people in that can bring value to the country. But that doesn't seem to happen. Of course, the same values or to integrate with the country is also important, but to actually bring good skills into the country is I would say priority.
They can share those dreams and aspirations that Western civilization helps facilitate. But there's concern in some places, particularly Europe, the United States, other Western countries as well, that there are people that want to come, they want to immigrate, but they don't necessarily want to take on the Western values and ideas, dreams, aspirations that society has is founded upon. And that's raising concern in a lot of places. Check out this clip over here. It's a news report from Sky News where they're saying that in Australia, there are a lot of people that want there to be stricter immigration policies and the reasons why. But let's watch this together. But before we watch it, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
All right, team, we're transitioning to FLAC, but tasks are still going to be on Bullfrog.
Did nobody see my poppycock post?
Well, here in Britain, much like in Australia, we're seeing the rise of Muslim political movements. 4 MPs were elected to Parliament last year, essentially as Gaza candidates. And as Nigel Farage told me last night, he expects that number to grow in the next general election, only fueling sectarian political movements. Sadly, this trend is merely a reflection of the growing reality in Britain, with a reluctance of some Muslims to integrate into Western values and a rise of radical Islamists that's only been exacerbated by the October 7 atrocities. Joining me now, 2 political analysts visiting London from the UAE, Amjad Taha and Obaid Ahmed Al-Zabi. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
You're both at ARC, so delighted that you are in London at ARC and really engaging in this debate. Ahmed, why is it, I've listened to some of the comments you've made, why is it that you believe there are more radical Islamists in a place like Britain than there is in your own country?
The question is, why is it that when a Muslim lives in Dubai, is more liberal, but when a Muslim lives in London, is more extremist? Why is it that you have the fact that if an Orthodox Jew, after the 7th of October, still wanted to walk in the street of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, anywhere in the UAE after the 7th of October, he actually identified himself as a Jew? And where is his Kippa or Orthodox identity? Yet he cannot do that in various areas in Birmingham, for example, in Small Heath, in Sparkbrook, in various areas in UK. This should be questioned. It's not a matter of freedom of speech. It's the fact that people in Britain have reached a moment where they cannot express their perspective, their opinion at any stage, at any point, in the name of the fact that they censor them under the umbrella of Islamophobia. But that terminology has been used to prevent any person speaking about the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood are the armed forces. The armed forces of Muslim Brotherhood is Hamas. And we saw what Hamas carried in terms of terrorism and so on. So yes, if all the way in Gaza, the humanity still has some hostages there, all the way in London, you have various generation, a new generation who are hostages of that propaganda, of Hamas propaganda, the Muslim Brotherhood's propaganda. It's quite dangerous. It's and devastating.
The Muslim Brotherhood originated from Egypt, right? So just to clarify, right, I was just doing a bit of researching whilst I was talking. So it originated from Egypt. It's saying that Hamas is the military branch of it. It didn't originate from Palestine. Just want to make that clear.
And it's quite a dark time. I mean, to the point when you speak to a British person at this stage, at this point, they always look at yesterday and they don't tell you about tomorrow. They're scared of tomorrow. When they want to look into the light, they look at yesterday, not today. And this is Britain, where Britain message was always tomorrow.
Yes. Obaid, President Trump said that the region needs to take more people out of Gaza. But, we notice around the world that most of the region do not want Gazan refugees. Why is that?
Well, if you want to understand Trump's plan for the Middle East, you have to look at it as a real estate plan. You have to understand that he's an expert in that field, and he understands that what needs to happen is a lot of reconstruction development, and it is different groups in the Middle East that don't have an interest to go forward with that plan, and they're simply blocking it. But I think with his approach, he's going to put more pressure on different groups, and there will be a resolution, and there will be a plan to redevelop the region. I don't think he's said at any point that he will remove them permanently,
No.
but just to create an opportunity for them to go and a space for people to come in and redevelop the area.
I don't think also anybody of us is against the fact that creating a better condition for the Gazan people. We all stand with the right of people, the freedom of movement.
They seem to be avoiding a question as to why the other Middle Eastern countries don't want to take the Gazans in. Why are these people going into the Western countries? That was what was asked. So I'm still waiting for the answer. It's just a bit of a war for at the moment. Let me know in the comments if you know, or if you've got an opinion.
The freedom of speech should be always everywhere available. Even Gazan people. If the Gazan people want to stay, they have all the freedom to say. And if they want to travel outside for a period of time, they can do so. That was the case for the Syrian. That was the case for the Lebanese. Lebanese people, when they had to travel and then come back when their country was built.
Syrians, Lebanese, they're going to Australia, they're going to UK, they're going to Europe, they're going to the US. Why aren't they going to UAE? Why aren't they going to Egypt? Why aren't they going to Turkey, Iran, Afghan, Jordan? Why aren't they going to any of those countries? That's what I want to know. I genuinely don't know. You let me know in the comments below. I have an opinion. You let me know in the comments below what you think.
And it's the same case for the Syrian. 8 million Syrians, they left the country because there was a genocide happening there.
Yes.
So leaving can be for a reason, and then coming back, it's also to rebuild.
I asked a question because in Australia we've taken 3,000 people from Gaza with very little security checks. Your point that there are more radical Islamists in Britain stands true for Australia. Should we be concerned about not security checking these people?
No, the security check is very essential and important because they come from an area is quite radicalized. You're either under the jihad, Islamic jihad, which is a proxy of Iran in Gaza, or you're under Hamas. Both of them are anti-Semite, anti-Jew, anti-Christian, anti-all.
Yes.
And they been quite radicalized at the early age.
So you think it's a mistake for Australia to do that?
Absolutely. When you look at the educational curriculum in Gaza and the West Bank, it teaches you hate and killing the others. These people, when they come to your country, they're a tool away from carrying the crime against any of your children or any of your people or any of your markets. So it's quite dangerous to not do any security check. All countries, Arab countries, they do security check on everybody. All the Muslim countries, they do security check. And that's your right if you care about the future generation of yours. But the fact that you just bring anybody into your home, it shouldn't be. I mean, would you allow a stranger to come into your house, sit with your babies? No. It's the right of yours to protect your children and not to bring any criminal, anybody into your home. It doesn't mean you're against humanity. In fact, it means you're protecting humanity when you do the security check.
Just a quick point, because I know you've been to Australia and you saw, we were talking in the break, you saw what happened on the steps of the Opera House just within 24 hours of October 7. What was your reaction to those pro-Palestinian mobs?
It was shameful. And one thing I can say, that's a praise of civilization. Some of them, they escape all the way from the Middle East, in various areas in the Middle East, where the Islamists were prosecuting their country. Australia provide them with the right to live in Australia and citizenship, and in response, you celebrate the new Holocaust, new form of Holocaust. The 7th of October was a test to humanity. And the 7th of October, just like the Holocaust, people denied it, people celebrated it, and there were some people who participated in it. 7th of October happens, there were some people in the Opera House, all the way in Australia, instead of caring about people and the country and the future, they were celebrating Hamas murdering babies, kidnapping an 8-month-old baby. There is no cause can justify kidnapping baby Cafe.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for the honesty and for coming here today.
This is obviously true and obviously sensible to anyone who has sense in their mind. If you like this content overall,
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they didn't really quite answer the question, which is why is it that none of these Middle Eastern countries are taking in the Gazans? Is it because the Gazans, the Palestinians, they are radicalized and therefore radicalized by the Muslim Brotherhood originating from Egypt? And so therefore they don't want to take a radicalized population into their countries because they do the security checks, as they said. And so if that's the case, why is it that these people are not only allowed into the Western countries and willingly taken, right, under the premise of them being refugees, but the security checks are non-existent? Why is it that Western governments are doing this? Why are they importing them into their countries without security checks if they are already radicalized and they know this? The thing is, the intelligence agencies, they know this. Anyone that's within this this political arena, they understand this, or at least you bloody well hope so, because they're making decisions in the government. So why is it, right? And I can only imagine. I mean, I just checked out ChatGPT, right? So Egypt is planning to take some, but it sounds like many of the Gazans are radicalized by the Muslim Brotherhood, which originates in Egypt. So maybe the Muslim Brotherhood is strong in Egypt. I don't know really too much about Egyptian politics. Let me know in the comments below if you do. But that seems to be the only country taking in these people, right? And Egypt is a North African country. In fact, I've just seen as well, Israel Mossad asks African countries to take Palestinians in. Okay, I'm not going to go find the article. I was just checking out on my phone. But yeah, let's look at the comments. You guys, let me know what your opinion is. Why is this happening in the West? There's immigration is one thing, and immigration is good for countries. And don't get me wrong, this is the channel for it, right? We're all about border hopping and going where you're treated best and all that kind of stuff. And the multicultural side as well is good if it brings benefits to the country. But these people are not. They're typically causing trouble. The security levels are going down, or crime is going up, rather. Probably a better way to say it. It's they're not bringing anything to the countries. Would you allow a stranger to babysit your children while wake up people? Yeah. Let's see what the replies are. Most common thing one can do in the USA. This will never stop as long as you have the Islamic Labour government in power. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it actually matters what government is in power in Australia. They both seem to be doing the same thing. I believe it was Germany recently. They said that they were going to get rid of all the illegals or start deporting people, and then they completely went back on their word. I think it was Germany. I could be wrong. You guys said left years ago, live in America. Going unchecked. Evil can only exist. Good people sit back and do nothing. The government should be in jail. The thing is, it really is the government, right? What is going on in these Western countries? What is actually going on? I have heard mixed opinions. All right, I'll be honest with you. I've been doing a lot of research. Some people on a certain spectrum of the political line, they're blaming Israel for this. Israel is flooding Europe with Islamics, and that's the reason why. But that doesn't really necessarily add up. It doesn't necessarily add up because these Islamics hate Israel too. They hate the Jews too, right? So why would they want to flood European countries with radical Islamic civilization? it's just going to create more danger, right? I mean, Israel's already surrounded by enemies. So I'm not sure if that theory really holds up, but again, let me know in the comments below. Talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Explain it to me. Convince me. Came back to the UK after joining 25 years in Kuwait, and I am a port. Yeah, I actually lived in Kuwait. Really cool country. Some of us mourned October 7th and would have mourned no matter who was happening to. It's all for how we can treat one another. Islamophobia for the one who does not know Islam. Islamophobia for the one who knows about real Islam. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debate on whether it's Islam or if it's a radical Islam or if it's the same everywhere. But like this guy said, not this guy. These guys, I guess they're from the UAE. It sounded like they were, but yeah, you don't get this stuff in the UAE. They do their checks. Yeah, we need more Arabs like these guys to speak, or if they're non-radical Muslims, where are their voices? Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You can't paint everyone with the same brush, right? Not all Christians are bad. Not all Muslims are bad. Not just because a book says that you should do something a certain way doesn't mean everyone actually follows the rules, right? Waiting for the non-radical Jews to speak up. Yeah, there's a lot of Israelis that are speaking up. Non-radical Jews to speak up. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of non-radical Jewish and Israelis. Yeah, I mean, I do often see it from the Islamics as well, and typically the Muslims they're warning the West, be careful who you're importing. Again, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know why the Western world is doing this. Why are they doing this across Australia, the UK? It's just across Europe, Western Europe mostly. Why are they doing it? I don't have anything else to say other than why. I just don't know. I've been trying to figure it out myself. It doesn't make any logical sense. If you need immigrants, bring people in who are going to benefit the country, who are going to integrate, and who are going to adapt to the values and the culture. And they're simply not doing it. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'll see you in the next one.